So we're switching gears a little bit today. We're doing something a little bit different. There are times where, well, at least right now, where we're accustomed to things just going off the rails, but then there are things that are so serious and so heartbreaking that you have to address them. So we're taking a break from our walk through Thomas to honor the lives that have been lost at the border and for those precious souls trapped within inhumane conditions of concentration camps in America. Concentration camps. Leviticus 19 says this. It says, when an alien resides with you in your land, you shall not oppress the alien. The alien who resides with you shall be to you as the citizen among you. You shall love the alien as yourself, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Now this verse is about one of over 50 verses regarding immigration throughout the text. And I want to be abundantly clear when I say this. There are lots of things that we can debate in churches as far as theology goes. Trinitarianism versus bitheism versus monotheism. Hell, in our church we can debate atheism. Calvinism versus Arminianism versus Molinism versus open theism versus process theology. We can talk about Christus Victor versus penal substitutionary atonement. We can talk about six-day creation versus a poetic narrative. And we can talk about how the Bible actually isn't a science book. We can talk about inerrancy versus blatant discrepancies throughout the scripture. Most of you don't know what most of that vocabulary was referring to, and most of you don't care what those words mean. And I realize that my quirky personality insists that I dive deep into these complex scriptural phrases and narratives. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I'm up for hours. Most of you might have some kind of spiritual question that wakes you up in the middle of the night, and you might be startled at first, and you're awake, and you're like, man, go back to sleep. Psychologists call that being functional. I don't think that's what I am. But the one thing that is not up for debate in the scriptures is welcoming refugees in your land. There is no other position on this if you are taking the scripture seriously. If someone has told you there can be another stance for Christians on undocumented citizens and refugees other than throwing their doors and gates wide open, they are incorrect in every way. The notion of land with invisible borders and constructed ones, like, I don't know, maybe for example, if there was a hypothetical wall that was going to be constructed, and that wall will cost taxpayers billions and billions of dollars by cutting funding to things like PBS and eating up emergency funding for things that have been necessary for years, like, I don't know, Flint and Puerto Rico. I mean, if there was something that incredibly stupid that was going to be constructed, it would be a perfect example, but for the life of me, I can't think of anything. The truth is, border walls, empires that are built on the premise of exclusion is seen throughout the pages of this sacred text for its unequivocal idiocy. Babylon, Egypt, Persia, and Rome are four empires mentioned in the scriptures, and they all have one thing in common. They all crumbled under a God that danced on their ruin, because God is not a God of a parameter. God is a mother to all of her children. We keep building these stupid walls bigger and bigger, and God keeps tearing that bullshit down. And guess what, America? Under a just God, we're next. The book of Malachi states firmly that God's favor forever extends to the marginalized. It says this: so I will come to put you on trial. I will be quick to testify against adulterers and perjurers, against those who defraud laborers of their wages, who oppress the widows and the fatherless, and deprive the foreigners among you of justice. Because of this, I believe that it is our job in these dark times to remind America of prophetic historical truths that foretell of our downfall. For that is what every oppressive system of governance does eventually. They all fall, and they fall hard. If we cannot take an unbiased examination of our past and our present and alter our current trajectory, then one day the foundation of our nation will fracture. And if we continue to oppress the stranger, create victims, create widows, and promote poverty, and promote a system that only benefits 0.01% of our populace, then maybe it should. Contrary to popular belief, God is not an American. And based on our horrific history, I am pretty sure that God that I see, the God of love that I worship in the scriptures, would have little interest in becoming nationalized in this country. So what can we do today? We fight. What do we do when they come for them? We tell the powers that be that they can go through us. What do we do when those same powers come for us? We take the hits. What do we do when they flee to our lands? When refugees come to us for aid, we fling the doors of America wide open and invite them to sit at our tables as honored guests and share in the abundance of our generosity. So what should we do? We stand up to bullies, because when we bring the fight to them the way that Jesus did, empire always falls. Brothers and sisters, I am just as angry and pissed that it's now 2019 and America has built concentration camps for innocents. I am sickened, especially by the church. For a group that claims to be pro-life, you certainly don't care about the lives of Oscar and Valeria, a family that lost their lives to escape the war on drugs that America created. And the evangelical leader of choice in this nation had the audacity to claim that an open border caused their death. Shame on Donald Trump and shame on the church. For a group that claims to be pro-life, you certainly don't care about the livelihood of children that are living in their own filth. For a group that claims to be pro-life, you sure as hell don't care about the lives you're destroying when you're ripping families apart. My children left early this morning. And it's always a tough day. I never sleep the night before. It's rough. I only get to see them 6 weeks in the summer, and then rotating holidays. And I miss them dearly. I love my kids. It's the hardest days of the year when I have to say goodbye. But at the end of this difficult day, I know that where they're going, they have a roof. They have access to toilets and showers and soap and hygiene products. If someone tore my kids from my arm and put them in a concentration camp with the same conditions that we have in America, I would be devastated. How can we call ourselves a Christian nation? I can't imagine what these families are going through, nor should my imagination be necessary right now. What the hell kind of gospel does this Christian nation read from? Because it damn sure is not the one that I've studied my entire career. Pete Buttigieg said it best this week: Christians that support the agenda at the border have lost all right to claim the use of religious language ever again. So, this is rough. Until these prisons crumble, and until hatred and bigotry are removed from institution, and until this ridiculous idea known as empire has breathed its last breath, we stand, we fight, and we will not be moved, for this is what it means to adorn the title of Christian. Like Jesus, there may be some sacrifice, some sweat, and some blood equity with doing what is right, but the time is always right to do what is right. So what are the right steps for us today? We can't just gather and talk about these things. We can't just look at it on social media and think, I wish I could do more. We have to take steps. And practical things that we can all do this week is call your senator and call your congressperson. Call them. Blow those phone lines up. Tell them you want these detention centers closed, families reunited, and sanctuary granted, and asylum given to all that are fleeing these conditions. We can do more than that. We can donate to organizations like the one we're donating to today. We can donate to Immigrant Families Together. That's one organization. You can Google many others that are are literally fighting for the legal rights of these kids. It's paying the legal fees. The ACLU is another one. We can definitely donate to them. Fighting for the legal rights of these kids. Make a donation. If you don't give to church today, I would rather you give your whole donation to them anyway right now, because this is what the church should be known for. But it can't stop here. When the world tells us in America that we should draw lines on a map, we draw those on the margins of those lines in. When the world tells us that the KKK is somehow welcome here, but migrant workers breaking their backs to put food on our plates have to go, we call bullshit. When they elect to lock children in cages, then we vote these chaplains of hell out of power, and if they draw guns on them, we stand in their way. There will not be another Holocaust. There will not be another registry. There will not be another ridiculous wall in this world. And Trump, if you and your mob of ignorance somehow manages to pull this stupid shit off, then we are going to stand. And we're not going to stand with thoughts and prayers given up like a Christian version of a Care Bear stare, not with mystical vibrations of the universe, but with a mobilized group of pissed off holy troublemakers that will lay our lives on the line if necessary and do whatever it takes to see this reign of iniquity come to a halt. Because that is what love looks like, and that is what Jesus would do. It's okay to be angry. If you're not angry, you're not paying attention. I dare say that Jesus would be on the front lines, flipping tables, and probably saying a few colorful adjectives as well about the situations in this country. But we have to do more than collectively agree that the premise of these actions is morally corrupt. We have to do something about it, because if we don't, who will? There is a cost to this kind of initiative, and it comes with spending the most valuable currency that we have, our time. It's the one thing that we have that's truly valuable. It's the one thing that we're all going to wish we had more of when our time comes. And I know there are days where we wish that the fight could just stop and we could take it easy. But we cannot allow ourselves to stumble or to tire. We have to continue this movement. And I believe with all of my heart that Jesus was trying to get his disciples to see that no matter the cost, the movement is bigger than just one person, because it's for so many that are under the boot of empire and imperialism. And until next week, may the peace of the Lord Christ go with you wherever it may send you. May it guide you through the wilderness and protect you through the storms. May it bring you home rejoicing at the wonders that it shows you.